Do you know someone who likes funky socks? Well, do I have an awesome gift idea for you? Society Socks is a men's sock subscription that sells funky socks with a social cause. They sell gift subscriptions that allow you to prepay for 2 pairs of exclusively designed socks to be delivered to your or your recipient's door for 3, 6, or 12 months. These socks are made of a warm, soft, and comfortable blend of combed cotton, guaranteed to make feet feel and look great. But why are they called society socks? Well, socks are one of the most needed and least donated clothing items at homeless shelters, but Society Socks aims to change that. With every pair of socks purchased, another pair of socks is donated to a homeless shelter. With 2 surprise pairs of socks arriving to your or your friend's door every month, you can feel confident that you've contributed to the beginning of an awesome sock collection. Visit www.mysocietysocks.com/getoffset and use the code GETOFFSET to get $10 or 50% off your first gift subscription. So give the gift of funky socks today. Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Emily.
And my name is Andrew.
And I'm not popping.
Pop, pop.
Pop, pop. I have my pop filter. I better not be popping. If I end up popping in post, I'm going to be pissed.
Did you, have you seen Community?
Of course I've seen Community. That's where I got pop from.
Magnitude.
Oh, that episode where the new student wants to steal the pop. He's no, that's my thing now. That made me so sad.
Oh, I think that's ahead of where I'm at right now in the seasons. I think I'm on season 3 right now.
Oh, the gas leak season.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is what that's called.
The gas leak season. No, I'm on season 3. I think I'm about to get to the point where I stopped watching the last time. I was watching it back in like 2014, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching, I think it was probably through the end of season 3. I was like, cool, let's watch the next season. And it's like, oh, no, I think it was like it was on Hulu and then Netflix bought the rights or something like that, but it like changed ownership and there wasn't a new season yet. And so when I found out it was just all uploaded to Netflix, now I'm like, all right, I can roll with that then. Cool.
I think I watched live until, and I'd forgotten so many episodes, so I must not have watched it as religiously, but it was when it was coming out because I think it was part of the Thursday nights with 30 Rock and Parks and Rec and Community, which was, a lot of fun stuff.
Talk about a power trio.
Yeah, seriously. But then I just don't really know what happened. I think there was other stuff like I just kind of stopped watching as much TV, but it was around the time Donald Glover left the show.
For sure.
Yeah. I liked him a lot. He used to write for 30 Rock.
He's one of the most talented people on the planet, hands down.
Yeah, he's up there. And I respect him for not showing up to the Grammys last year when he won all the Grammys.
Why?
Oh, just a lot of people don't care about award shows, and I think that's admirable to not care about award shows because I think secretly a lot of people want to win the awards that they're nominated for, even if they don't want to admit it. It's just I think most people are intrinsically at least a little bit competitive.
Well, sure, I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing either. I find it admirable when people give so few meows. I don't have a meow on my soundboard right now. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I sort of get that. At the same time, I don't know. I don't know why I'm bothering to defend award shows. I don't even like them that much, but.
And I watch the Grammys every single year. I actually really like watching award shows. I think they're funny.
Oh, I think they're boring. But
yeah, they are boring, but I just really like watching them. I think it keeps me kind of in tune with, how the rest of the industry sees things. And I like the Grammys because I like the Grammy Foundation, and they're the reason Music Cares exists. And I know personally people who have survived some health things because of Music Cares. So that's a big part of the Grammys, and that's a big thing that I like about them, and why I think the whole Grammy idea is tolerable at least. And also, full disclosure, I've never been a voting Grammy member, but it is a goal of mine because I've been a Grammy member for working in the industry, but I've never been an actual like eligible to vote in the Grammy member. And I really that is a my dumbest goal. My dumbest goal is that I want to be even at the very bottom of a voting Grammy member.
As dumb as that is, I support you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
It's pretty dumb. Yeah, it's pretty dumb. It's pretty dumb. So, Andrew, what's new with you?
Oh my goodness. What's new with me? I've got a couple of things on the table. First off, slightly less consequential, but also super exciting, is let me pull the picture here. My dad found a guitar magazine from the 90s that he just sent me a photo of and said, "Hey, this is in the mail, headed your way." It's Guitar World Presents Nirvana and the Seattle Sound.
Uh-huh.
So I'll be getting that in the mail sometime this week. And there's
note how it doesn't say grunge. It says Seattle Sound. Which is also dumb because those bands don't really sound that much alike.
Yeah, sure. So I'll be getting that.
Shut up, Emily.
There's some interviews and some tab sheets and some other cool stuff that's a relic of the about the time I was born. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. I played a little riff of Smells Like Teen Spirit and my Cattle and Bread Gygus demo. I was like, where did that wow, that came way out of the cobwebs to find that.
Well, it did it though? Isn't that something like everybody knows how to play?
Yeah, probably. Man, are y'all making coffee? It sounds like it. Yeah.
I think that is what's happening in the background.
So I'm actually going to have to edit this episode a little bit more than usual. It happens. Yeah. So
other than item number 1, item number 2 is sort of planned and sort of was not planned. So I've been planning on migrating the Fox Cairo website. And just as like a little window into how in the world I'm trying to keep this little business running. And so I've been running the website off of Squarespace. The reason why I did that is Squarespace was really dead simple for me to use. And that made up for the ridiculous price tag that was attached to it. So that helped me get the first round up, helped me get through the idea of like how the website works, and just absolute website builder for dummies. But as I started to dig into it a little bit more and I want my website to be able to do more, they're like, okay, cool, we need like another $10 a month. I'm like, no, it was already pushing the level of what was acceptable for a monthly payment. And yeah, so I was like, something's got to change. Let me look at other options. And you suggested moving over to WordPress.org. Not WordPress.com.
Yes, not .com. Not .com.
WordPress.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
Org.
Huge. Yes, the .org.
Tremendous.
Tremendous.
And yeah, so I was planning on migrating the website, and I was doing it a little chunk at a time. And I was planning on taking some time throughout this week to rebuild the website. Of course, I wasn't able to do that completely by myself. See previous statement about being a noob. So I actually convinced you to help me, and I 1000% appreciate it.
Well, it was a nice way to repay you for literally saving my whole damn computer the weekend before, which is something that Andrew did. Yeah.
Tech support in exchange for website support. I think it's
sounds fair.
It sounds fair. I like that.
Yeah.
So it was a planned.
Does Carrie want a cookie? Does Carrie want a cookie? Okay. Did you get that?
I did get that. That was cute.
Just the proof that she knows that trick. There we go. Sorry.
Um,
Now she was really bothering me, so now she'll mellow.
yeah, no worries. So, anyways, all of that to say, this was planned, and the plan was to do this as seamlessly as possible with like 5 minutes of downtime. Drop one site into the other. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Done. And Wednesday night, I was in the middle of playing Age of Empires, as I do every Wednesday night with a buddy of mine. And I got an email saying, cool, your domain, yada, 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 yada. I'm like, wait a minute. And I went to go look at the website, and it was totally showing website coming soon. I'm like, no, downtime. And I don't have time to, the website wasn't finished, wasn't built yet all the way. It wasn't ready for publishing.
No, it was just on like the default 2019 theme that WordPress comes with.
Yeah.
And it was like on a staging server, and we hadn't yet added the images, adjusted the fonts, or even picked a theme or a template.
I know some of those words.
Uh-huh.
So, anyways, Thursday ended up being this epic wild tale of trying to get the website back up. But Thursday night at midnight, I'm like, all right, we're almost there. I'm just cleaning up some fonts and some colors, and it disappeared. The entire website disappeared. It was like a little bit after midnight, and I'm just staring at the computer going, no, oh no, it's can't be, no. So
it would have sucked, but it would have literally taken me an hour to rebuild everything. So I was like a different level of mellow, and I'm like, you just got to talk to the Bluehost support team, because I am like, this is past my pay grade.
Yeah, so I about had a panic attack. Called Bluehost, got it all sorted out for in the morning, and it launched Friday morning, and I was pretty happy. That was a little bit frightening for a couple of days there, but it's all sorted out now. The website is up. It's looking only slightly different than it did before, with some definite improvements, and there's a lot more flexibility with what I'm going to be able to do in the future.
Yeah, I mean, but you would never guess that the Fox Cairo website and GetOffsetPodcast.com are hosted. It's literally the same theme.
Yeah,
and so is the Tuna Tone website. I made that one too. I like that Sydney theme because it's just so customizable, and it has the free level, which is key, and then it used the Elementor page builder, which I like a lot.
Again, some of those words I know. So, anyways, all that to say, thank you so much for you helping me out with that, and thank you so much for anybody who tried to access the website on Thursday and decided to not send me angry, hateful messages like some people have sent to other companies we talked about last week.
Yeah, people tend to get grumpy when websites go down, but yeah,
I'm small potatoes, not a big deal. Yeah, Thursday's usually not a popular day for the website, so
downtimes happen. I've been annoyed with it's like you had a good experience with Bluehost this week, and I kind of got annoyed with them about something, but now I have a downtime monitor on the GetOffsetPodcast.com website, and because I was just like, I feel like the website's it was having server issues on Friday, and I'm like, well, today I have time, so I was talking to them on support for quite a while, and was getting kind of annoyed, and I'm sure that they were like, we can't help, I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I have, let's not get into that too much.
Well, what's new with you? Changing gears.
I had kind of a fun turns of tabled sort of moment. It's the table that has the tables have turned. I was doing a U thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So shot.
the tables turned a little bit. So I think I've mentioned before that the first guitar I ever really played and my first lessons were from my mom, who had an acoustic Epiphone when I was growing up, and that was really the guitar I first super duper learned how to play on. Well, my mom in quarantine, she's been, talking about, like, we don't do a lot right now. There's not a lot, like, normally they would go golfing and walk and go on the beach, and my mom's always been very active in her community, and now like they just really can't do a lot of that stuff. So I'm like, well, why don't like I put fresh guitars on strings on that guitar last time I was in town. Like you should pick guitar back up. And I was kind of surprised when she was like, I've been playing an hour every day. And she got the Ultimate Guitar app, and she's like, tabs are cool. I've been learning how to read tabs and chord charts and just like having fun and playing along with music on my phone really quietly. And she really wanted to upgrade to an electric guitar. My mother has never had an electric guitar. So we talked a lot, went back and forth. I was kind of showing her pictures of things. So we're getting her she's ordered the Surf Green Fender Player Series Duosonic because it was a good price point, and she's getting a little Fender Mustang amp, one of the little modeling
Aw.
amps. And I added some other stuff to the cart, and I don't think she'll listen to this podcast before she gets it in the mail, but she was like, she was like, I'll pay you back. Just tell me what I owe you, and just add anything else that you think I need. So I added a little guitar stand, a little gig bag, cables, straps, some extra strings, and I Fender has this bumper sticker that says "My Kid Rocks," so I added that
Wow.
to the order.
Forcing your mom to be a proud mom.
Yeah. So should be getting most of that in Tuesday. So that's good. And so that was exciting. Another exciting thing is remember Lance from Dogman Devices?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
Lance. I like
of
that
course.
kid.
Yeah, I like that guy. Well, he sent me just to borrow his new overdrive pedal, the Earth Overdrive, and I was just like listening through the audio. It's cool, dude. Like I'm if you're listening to this, I'm releasing that demo. I released it yesterday. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, so it's already out. But it goes from nice, like a really subtle overdrive to like fuzz territory almost. It's very wild, and I really dig it. And it seems very Lance. Um, and it's just a volume and a gain knob. There's no tone knob, so you just kind of you have what you have. And I do like that in pedals, like dialed back controls, just because I think it's so easy to get such option paralysis and constantly try to be tweaking things. But like if you're limited by, I feel like limitations can really force creativity in ways that having too many options can sometimes stifle it just by the option paralysis. So I really like that as a concept. I think it's a really cool pedal, and I know he's still doing the hand drilled,
Dremel.
engraved. I think he's just hand engraving them. He says it's taken him for forever to do these. So I don't think it's a Dremel. It
Okay.
might be. It's just definitely by hand. However, he's doing it, and it takes a long time. But I think he's still trying to get some like screen printed enclosures, maybe. I don't know. I've been talking to him a little bit. I don't want to talk about his plans too much, but he's got a lot of cool stuff in the works. So it's always nice to. It was really. I was glad to finally be able to get my hands on the Earth Overdrive.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking. I mean, we're recording this before that demo comes out, but I'm gonna have to watch that tomorrow.
You're gonna have to actually watch it.
I know.
Wow.
You have my intrigue. Oh,
Intrigue. I just got 2,500 subs on YouTube. Just past that this week.
what? Pop, pop.
Ah, pop, pop. Very exciting
Well,
things.
you know what? I shouldn't say pop, pop. That's magnitudes. I'm gonna say what?
Say what? Yeah. So
Because
those
that's
are
totally original.
Yeah, so those are the big things with me. Obviously band stuff going around. Have the band come in to have a little band meeting this afternoon, just to get. There's a lot of stuff happening at once, and that's a good thing for the band. So sweet.
Holla. Well, shall we do sponsors?
Oh, first I forgot. When I put in my mom's Fender order, I actually put in an order for myself for that
What?
RD style body that that I got from Partscaster Concierge. So I got
Oh,
the Shawbucker 1 and the Shawbucker 2 for that guitar, and I got a Strat neck. So I now have the body, the neck, most of the hardware, mostly electronics. I think I'm probably just gonna need to reach out to Sean at Gun Street Wiring, to get like a wiring kit for this guitar. And then the thing that I really need to do, and I've just been having a hell of a time finding it, I'm trying to find like a rose colored wood stain. I know Minwax has them, but it's hard to find like that color in stores. So I think I'm just gonna need to go down to like the True Value or Greenwood Hardware and see if they can, make a custom color for me. Because what I want to do is I want to do like a pink finish, a pink stain on it, and then like a dog hair or a cerused finish on it, like your Jennings.
yeah.
Because I still have all of the tools. Like I still have the copper bristle brush or whichever brass maybe bristle brush. I think I still have the right grits of sanding paper. I would just need to do a refresher for myself on how exactly I accomplished that. Um, but I'm excited for that and to finally get rolling some more on this guitar. So I really want the next video of it I make to be of the staining and finishing process. Which so I think that'll hopefully be sooner rather than later. It really is just a matter of getting the stain color right.
Oh, for sure. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. I've always seen like custom like paint. I'm not sure if I've ever seen like custom stain colors at like a hardware
They
shop.
can do it. Yeah,
Okay,
they have that. I've confirmed it. Basically, they start for the pink. They need to start from like the white base, and then they add the colors from there. And last time I
gotcha.
went, they didn't have the white base, so I need to either um get it somewhere else and bring it to them, or wait to see if they get more of that in
What are
stock.
they, a politician not having the white base? Come on.
They're my neighborhood's friendly women-owned hardware store.
Oh,
Yes, they
that,
exist.
that sounds friendly.
Actually, it is friendly. It's actually gotten a lot better since the woman who had worked there for so long became the owner, to be honest. I feel like she made some changes that I feel like were very positive. That's the hardware store where I saw Ken Jennings at one time.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna start a rumor. Ken Jennings supports women. Those are the best rumors, aren't they? The good ones.
I think that's a good rumor.
Hmm. I like
Uh,
positive. We should do more positive
what
rumors.
is a good rumor?
I don't know what is a good rumor. I'm sorry, was
It's a
that a setup
Jeopardy
for a
joke.
joke?
It's a Jeopardy joke.
Okay. Oh, see, I knew there was a joke in there somewhere. I
Yeah.
just couldn't peg it.
What is
Cool.
a joke?
What is a joke?
Things
Um,
that go over my head, 4,000, Alex.
yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, but sponsors. You want to dive in on the sponsor?
Do I?
Okay, I'll do it. That's fine. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy. I'm happy to talk about DistroKid.
Sorry,
Are you?
that wasn't meant to sound like a like I don't want to talk about DistroKid.
Oh, gosh. We're off to a banging start.
I
This week's
know.
episode of the Get All Set podcast is sponsored by DistroKid. As you might guess from the name, DistroKid is a place you can go to. You pay $20 a year, and you get to distribute your music to places like iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal. You can YouTube. You can even I realized that when I put my music on DistroKid, it put it in like those Instagram stories where you can add music. I could pick my own damn music, and I got to add it to
Wait, what?
DistroKid. Yeah, isn't that funny?
Oh, shoot! You're making
That's
me want to just
hilarious.
start making music so I can start plugging my own stuff on Instagram.
That's funny, right?
That's actually that.
That's really cool.
Every time we talk about this, it gets cooler and cooler, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. So I did a whole video on YouTube about how to add your music to DistroKid. So I took this sort of collection of demos I'd recorded. I just had it on Bandcamp for a long time, and then so I go through and I show you how to add it on DistroKid. Um, and so it's really very easy. It's only $20 a year. I'd been paying like $40 a year for TuneCore, and yeah, that was just too much money. It's way too much money, I think. So I'm canceling my TuneCore. I'm going to move everything over to DistroKid because it's only $20 a year, and you can pay an extra fee, a one-time fee. I confirm this so that your music is on there for perpetuity, and you don't have to pay the year after year. But I mean, if you're releasing music every couple of years, which I feel like having a DistroKid account that you're paying for might encourage you to create more. I'm a big believer that like getting a gym membership or paying for a gym membership will make me go to the gym because I'm paying for it. Meanwhile, I'm probably not gonna lift weights in my own home.
Sure.
So I feel like it's kind of in that vein.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I just looked up your profile on Spotify.
Do I have a blue check mark?
There's a blue check mark.
Yes!
Verified artist.
Ow!
Artiste. Yeah, another perk of having DistroKid. Which last week I said that was the coolest part of having a DistroKid account.
There's way more cool parts, dude.
But yeah, but I like having like really bold, like this is the coolest thing ever kind of statements. And I gotta say, being able to put my own music on my Instagram stories, I think that might one up the check mark. I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
That's so really vain and funny. It's so vain and funny.
But I don't know. It doesn't have to be vain. It's just like, hey, I did something cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm Midwestern, so it's a little. It can be hard to do. Sometimes that's a struggle. My publicist will be so mad to hear that.
Probably.
The publicist, like, one thing I love about being in Sunday Crush is that, like, I don't have to be at the center of anything. It's fantastic.
Well, congratulations on the blue check mark. It's
thank you.
Long overdue.
Maybe. And I still get. I think the other month I got like 100. I think I have like 200 listeners a month on Spotify, which always surprises me.
I've got right here, it says 202 listeners a month, with your most listened song coming as Across the Line at 11,117 on Spotify.
I love that song, but I wish I had told the producer very specifically what I wanted the intro of that song to be, and he just didn't do it, and it kind of...
Aww.
Yeah, I had it in my mind, and I feel like I explained it well, and he just didn't do it, and that was kind of a drag. But it happens. I wanted it to be chaos, but maybe I'll re-record it someday.
Maybe you will.
Redo the bridge. I was never really happy with that bridge.
Or you could write new music.
I can write new music, but sometimes you want to take the things that you didn't get right the first time and make them right.
Or you could do that, I suppose.
I mean, I did tell you I have on September 18th, I'm going to be on that compilation that is being released. I'll put links to it when it gets released.
Yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah, so that's a new song with new words, and I'm supposed to be doing I'm supposed to add lyrics and words to a song that Justin Wood he's the guy who makes that Bloom and Fade pedal. Remember that one?
I'm trying to think here. Bloom and Fade.
It's just
it sounds so familiar.
It's a single foot switch. It's like volume swells. So you hold the button down and it cuts the volume. Yeah. It's really cool. Yeah. No, so he's the guy who does that, and he has a couple other pedals. And then I had told him like a year ago, like, oh yeah, that sounds fun, I'll do it. And then like, I think I accidentally snoozed that email for a year when I meant to snooze it for like 2 weeks, and I forgot about it. And I emailed him the other week. I'm like, I assume you don't want this anymore. And he's like, I'm game if you are. I'm like, all right, I guess I got to do this.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, DistroKid's the sponsor. of this episode, and I really like their product. I really do.
I can see why. I can see
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, it's nice to have sponsors. Oh, yes. Also, this you probably heard this episode had a pre-roll ad for Society Socks. Um, just a reminder to myself to add that to this episode in the beginning. They paid us money for an intro roll. Oops.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, they sent me a pair of socks. I have to do an unboxing video of the socks
Socks are always cool.
per the tenets of our agreement. Yeah. Cool. So, I think that's it for sponsors this week.
Well, shall we dig into the sode?
Yeah, so I posed this idea to you, not quite sure how you'd respond to it, but just it's been on my mind because I just submitted an article for reverb.com about this subject, and I don't want to just like say everything that's going to be in the article, but it was really interesting to me, and there was more in the world of the songs that I chose. So the article is going to be about studio mistakes that turned out to be like for the best or made the song better or became kind of iconic parts of the song for some reason or another. And that was just such a fun little piece to research. It's a different kind of research than I've done for some of their previous articles, and it felt like it was just really fun to look up these stories about um, things that happened in the studio or just studio mistakes that were really cool discoveries. And like I thought I would just talk about a couple of those stories with you, some that made the article and some didn't. And maybe we can talk a little bit about the importance that leads to experimenting in the studio and sort of how it can really be beneficial for musicians to get out of that mindset that the take has to be perfect and that any mistake is going to be detrimental, because sometimes mistakes are additive.
For sure. So, two things that I'd like to point out right in this moment is one, I agree with what you're saying right now, which is why I was giving you a hard time about recording new music just like 3 minutes ago. So, just wanted to point that out. Be that, but and two, I actually really like the idea of this topic because it kind of challenges this idea of like a famous studio story that I grew up and kind of just holding on to. Is like, wow, that's like if I ever go into the studio to record an album, I want to do it like they did. And that's the story of how Nirvana recorded their first album, Bleach, for like $600. Went to the studio, recorded all takes in one day, and then back out. They'd rehearsed everything, they knew every part, and they just went in, they did it, and they bounced. And so the idea of hanging out in the studio and trying to experiment and dig into that and just see what happens, just I'm not opposed to it whatsoever, but it just definitely strikes in contrast to that story of the Seattle grunge scene that really stuck in my mind as a kid.
It contrasts that. I'm sure there's a ton of mistakes on that record.
Not terribly. I don't know. It's a great record. It's pretty well done, honestly. I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's the best record that Nirvana did. It's my favorite record, at least.
Wow. Okay.
I know that might be a bold statement, but it is my personal favorite. There's just something visceral about the way that it comes across in a way that the other albums don't. And I don't know. I mean, we could talk about how Kurt Cobain didn't like how polished things started to get as the band progressed through that world. But anyways, yeah. So that feels like a really strong contrast and concept for what the purpose of a studio is. So I'm really curious to hear what you've got here.
Yeah. It's just that there are a lot of studio mistakes that ended up becoming so iconic that people later tried to and did in fact replicate them. There's 3 really famous examples of this happening, and they're the things that kind of inspired me to write this article and find other things.
Hit me with it.
So The one I think you'd be most interested in is the invention of gated reverb being a studio accident. Did you know that?
I did not know that was a studio accident, but
Yeah.
I do really like that effect.
Yeah, it was like I think you could call it an accidental discovery, more so than an accident like some of the other things on that list. But basically, it was for Peter Gabriel's third solo album. Phil Collins was laying down the drums, and there was the talkback mic in the overhead mic in the actual studio room, and it was very compressed, and it was being fed into a gate, and they heard the drums over the this talkback mic basically, and it was literally exactly the sound of gated reverb, and they liked it a lot, so they put it on the record, and Phil Collins most famously used it in the drum solo for In the Air Tonight, and it pretty much became the sound. Yeah, it became the sound of the 80s. Prince was putting his Lynn drum machine through gated reverb, and you still hear it in music today. Lord uses it. That was the example I used in the article. And then like reverb, multi reverbs coming with a gated sound, like the Dr. Scientist Atmosphere has a gated reverb setting. And so it's a sound that never really went away. Another thing that never really went away that was discovered in Sun Studios during the recording of the song Rocket 88. So the band showed up, and one of their speakers and one of their amps had gotten busted. So they try to fix it with some newspaper because, you know, it's a paper speaker. Why the hell not? And they get this sound that we now would call distortion, and that we as guitarists spend a lot of money trying to get the sound that is literally the sound of something broken. And they just loved it and they kept it instead of like being like, "Oh shoot, we need to actually get a new cab or new speaker and a new amp or
Is that how
something."
distortion was like created?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard like 8 different stories on how distortion was created and popularized.
Well, that's how Sun Studios tells it.
All right, I'll believe you for now. I feel like that's got to be like a hotly contested. Like, how was distortion? No, I created it. No, I created it.
I mean, the literal Wikipedia article says in the mid 50s, guitar distortion sounds started to evolve based on sounds created earlier in the decade by accidental damage to amps, such as in the popular early recording of the 1951 Ike Turner and the Kings of Rhythm song Rocket 88.
And you could very well be correct.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. And if we want to like jump forward about 9 years from that, do you know who Marty Robbins is? Or was, I guess.
That's it's ringing a bell, but I'm coming a blank.
Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yes, I did.
You know the song El Paso that's used in that
Yeah.
the last season? That's Marty Robbins.
Okay. Yeah.
So he was a country crooner, a real cowboy kind of guy, and he was recording a song I think called "Don't Worry About Me," and his guitarist slash bass was playing a 6-string bass, and he was plugged into a console, a port in the console. They didn't realize that channel was busted, so he goes in to do this bass solo, and it's just this fuzzy kind of broken sound. And the guitarist hated it. Marty didn't give it a hoot, but the producer was like, "That's a cool sound for the solo." And subsequently left it in the song, left it in the recording, and that people went so crazy over this song, the sound, that it is the first fuzz and popular song, and one of the first fuzz pedals is that sound reverse engineered. It was released by Gibson. Do you know what fuzz I'm talking about?
I'm also coming up on a blank.
You don't know what fuzz pedal that was?
I'm trying to think because Gibson did the fuzz, but wasn't under the Gibson name, right?
It was the Maestro FC1 fuzz tone.
Yeah, I'm thinking Maestro. Okay, there we go.
Maestro? Yeah, that looks like how that would be pronounced. Yeah,
it
so
doesn't
it
say
was,
Gibson on it.
yeah, well, they reissued it in the 90s, really? Huh, I didn't know that. But it was used in Satisfaction by Keith Richards. So,
Well, yeah, I mean that was really popular, and still is a very classic fuzz.
yeah. But yeah, it was a faulty preamp that caused that early fuzz sound. So those are three studio mistakes that didn't just affect the songs that they were in for the better, but completely inspired musicians for decades. I mean, distortion, like 70 years later, is such an art that people are paying $750 for the Chase Bliss Automaton Preamp Mark II, which has
They can't
fuzz.
make them fast enough
They
before they roll off the shelves.
literally can't make them fast enough right now. Yeah, seriously. And then, every guitarist, I think most guitarists, their first pedal's either a distortion pedal or a wah.
Sure.
At least when I was growing up.
I had
So,
a Digitech Grunge. This is one of my, and an Boss SD1, my first two pedals.
gosh. I You don't still have that grunge, do you? Because I feel like sometimes people spend stupid money on those.
Some people do, but it's typically some of the older versions.
Yeah. Oh, you had a newer version?
Yeah, I think it was like my dad bought it new from Musician's Friend in like 2005, and it was my brother's for the longest time until he gave up on guitar and he just gave me all of his stuff. But yeah,
Nice. Their loss, your gain.
yep.
Love when that happens.
I think I sold it for $20
Oh,
on
jeez.
Craigslist when I was in college.
You must have really needed that $20.
I was so broke in college, it wasn't even funny.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people can relate.
No, okay, so an example of how broke I was in college is I had this school assignment where I had to go to the mall and like, people watch, and it was one of those like, we're gonna talk about like the social engineering of malls or whatever it was. I forget what class it was for. And I remember going like, I'm really hungry. I think I've got $1 on my debit card. I might be able to get a hot dog from Wiener Schnitzel. I'm like, well, I'm trying to think here. I know I've got close to $1 on one and about $1 on the other. I wonder if they could do a split payment for like
Oh.
a $1.50 for a hot dog, and tried to get it sorted out. The dude just looked at me and he's like, hang on a second. And he looked over, like did the whole like look around, like, is my manager here? And he's like, all right. And he punched in a couple numbers, and then the receipt came out as 00, and he just said,
Oh.
don't tell anyone I said I gave this to you.
Oh.
And I'm just sitting here going like, I just got a free hot dog because I'm so broke.
Yeah. Now that's a.
It was like on a Tuesday, and I didn't get paid till Friday, kind of thing.
Oofda.
Yeah,
Man.
but I survived. I made it. I'm here.
Yeah, you're here. You're here. Nice.
Anyways, slight tangent.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun studio or recording mistakes, and some of them turn out to be like huge or the most memorable part of a song. Like that fuzz solo and Don't Worry is maybe the thing that people most remember that song for. I mean, it was a big hit. It was a big crossover hit at the time. But historically speaking, that's what made it like important. Same with Rocket 88. That's kind of what made those things important. And the gated sound, that just a whole decade of music is basically like if you want something to sound 80s, the first thing you need to do is put gated reverb on a drum. But there
Gated
are other
reverb and flange, lots of
yeah,
flange.
lots of flange. But there are other studio mistakes that are memorable that don't even involve like music gear going awry. Sometimes it's just like in the Master of Puppets when Kirk Hammett, he was playing the last solo and he goes to bend a note and his finger falls off pulls the string off the fretboard, the high E off the fretboard, and he creates
Uh-huh.
this high pitched whine that he's been trying the rest of his career to recreate that sound to varying levels of success. But that was an accident. It's the dopest part of that solo.
I can believe that some of his best work was an accident.
Yeah. another really cool memorable. There's so many
Still better
like
than the snare in Sin Anger.
oof duh.
Which I
Yeah.
hear is running for president. I think it was like a Hard Times article or something.
Oh well, it's got my vote.
Right?
But there are so many instances of like telephones ringing, doors slamming, people laughing in the back. You can hear the drummer yelling the F word in the Kingsmen's hit Louie Louie.
Classic.
So for some reason the FBI investigated the lyrics in that song for 31 months and they found that it was unintelligible. They couldn't figure out what the guy was saying, so they're like, maybe it's not profane. But they didn't catch the drummer dropping an F-bomb.
You know what that sounds like to me is like a government official being like, all right, we need funding. We need a really good excuse to get, like, things are kind of slow right now. We just need something so we can get our funding approved so we all have paychecks and don't get furloughed. Why don't we just, everyone, like, that's
no,
what
dude. No, that's like, this is the 60s. They were busy, like, trying to do terrible things to Martin Luther King Jr. Like, the FBI was busy.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
they were
sure,
busy and
but
they were still putting like their friggin' energy into this,
I don't know. That's the sort of project, and I grant that it was a different time, but I'm just looking at this as someone who's worked for the government going, I feel like that's something someone, like a BS excuse to like put down a project on paper for like an annual review or something. Oh yeah, like I totally, like we did this and we saved America, and
that was always a big embarrassment to the FBI, to be honest.
If it looks good on paper, people are going to do it, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily legitimate in any way.
Well, I mean, it wasn't legitimate, but the FBI did used to be a very, like, even until recently, like, you couldn't cuss on TV at all, and you couldn't cuss in radio songs, and there's always been a lot of stuff with
prudes,
with profanity. You can call them prudes, but I mean, I do think that parents have the right to know what their kids are listening to.
Oh, I agree to that, absolutely.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, prudes, absolute prudes.
Okay. All right.
I think it is admittedly difficult to govern that in a way that's family friendly for all, while still allowing for that kind of content to be available for those who are of age and wish to indulge in it.
Yeah, I just think, it's I don't like oh God, why am I blanking on the word?
Censorship?
Yeah, I dislike censorship a lot.
Sure.
I think that parents should be able to censor at least a little bit what their children are consuming. But that's very different than, standard censorship, I mean, because, sometimes art's not created for kids, and you should probably make sure, like, I think it's your job as a parent to try to make sure that your kids are not consuming that. At least, whatever. That's a tangent. But I want to talk about one more other kind of like studio mistake that I don't think is very common anymore. And it's the idea, and this kind of came from this was more common in a lot of like old soul music, old R&B, because a lot of these singers grew up in the church, and if you forget the words in the church, what do? You ad-lib. So I think
Hallelujah.
The most famous example of this, my favorite example of this, I should say, is Bill Withers in the song "Ain't No Sunshine." Do you know that song?
I do.
Do you know the words to the second verse?
No, I just know the chorus.
He literally just goes, I know, 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 I know. Yeah, it's because he forgot the words. And he just did that, and it's so effective because he leaned into it so hard. You can hear his voice kind of breaking, and it feels very emotional. And it's just, it feels very real, and you don't miss the lyrics, the actual lyrics at all. And he just jumps back in very seamlessly when he gets to a place that, makes sense to connect what he remembers with the I knows. And that song was, one of his biggest hits. This is a man that had a lot of hits for sure, but it's from an accident, and it's like they just kept rolling. He didn't get flustered. He didn't say like, "Stop the tape, I forgot." And I think that's just such a key part in the recording process, especially when you have the budget, especially when you have the time, especially if you're already doing multiple takes. Like, to just sometimes when there's a mistake, you want to just stop. And I implore you, as musicians who are a lot of you are probably getting into home recording for the first time, don't get this mindset that every single take has to be perfect. If you have a DAW like Studio One or Logic or anything where you can do like a ton of tracks and maybe comp them together, I really implore you to do that, to make mistakes and keep the mistakes, at least for a while, because sometimes the mistakes serve the purpose of the song, and
Sure,
sometimes like
sure.
they just are, they're more like happy accidents. Some of my favorite moments in songs that I've recorded are like, I meant to go to this chord 2 beats later, but I went early. And sometimes little mistakes like that, they just turn out so beautifully. I can't think of any specific examples, but on my EP Self Objectification with No Remorse, there's a part in that where for some reason the audio from my guitar like completely drops for a moment and comes back in. It's my favorite part of that song by far. It just sounds so real and raw, and I think fits the mood really well. So sometimes these things are just going to happen, and getting mad isn't really going, or getting upset that you made a mistake or something didn't go right. Like that's not going to help anything. Like, you can't always control that you're going to hit a bum note, or that your voice is going to crack in a weird place, or that the equipment's not going to fail in some weird kind of way. You can control how you react to that. And if you just can roll with it, I think you're going to have a lot more fun. You're going to have a lot more fun recording.
For sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, look, not all accidents are necessarily bad. Take me for example.
Ah.
Um,
Wow. Went there.
so no, but absolutely, I 100% agree with that. I think that's just a better way to live in general. Even outside of the studio, and just kind of just roll with it and accept what's within your control. And when life gives you lemons, you make a killer record. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's how that goes. Yeah. You
Yeah,
can just
that's
like have
how I've always heard
fun.
it. I think Kurt Cobain said that once.
Yes, obviously Kurt Cobain said that. That sounds exactly like something Kurt Cobain would say. The guy who literally scrapped an entire record after he heard someone else's record.
Sure, sure. No.
Didn't they record all of In Utero twice? That happens too, and sometimes it's for the best. We had Charlie
Sure.
Bliss on the show back in January, and their debut record was called Guppy, and they completely re-recorded Guppy, like new songs, a lot of them, because they had thought that the thing was like, you once you write 10 songs, it's time to record them, and then they realized, well, maybe you should write 20 songs, pick the best 10, and maybe pick the best 15, record the 15 songs, and then you have like these sort of leftover tracks. You pick the best ones of the 15, and then the other 5 can be used as like an EP down the road, or a limited release, something to make a radio station feel special, or make as a B-side, an unreleased B-side. I'll make somebody want to buy the A-side that they already have, and things like that. I mean, that's more strategy, but if you go into a studio with 10 songs and you're like, these are the only 10 songs I want to record, these are the only 10 songs I have, and they have to be perfect, Oh, that's sometimes that works, and sometimes it's a recipe for extreme disappointment.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. I think if you go in and say if it's not perfect, it's trash. In a science lab, sure, that's understandable.
Yeah.
This is not that kind of a world, though, and if you have your expectations set that way, I just don't see how you're ever going to find yourself satisfied, and I think you're going to constantly find yourself disappointed. And I think
Mhm.
more importantly, you're going to find yourself missing out on the best parts of what it's like to be a musician. So that's
Yeah,
my
the
my pithy
that
quote philosophy.
I mean, going off the cuff and just kind of improvising, I guess, is maybe is one way to say that, but sometimes you have to improvise. But like playing live, like there's going to be mistakes in your live performances, and if you just really aim for that perfection too much, what you are eventually going to see as the result is stripping away the feeling of being in of having a group of people interacting with each other, because in the studio sometimes people still like lay down live band stuff. I think it's more common for like everything to be isolated when it's recorded the last time. I think sometimes you'll have like the drum and bass get a quick recording so that the guitarist and the singer have something that they're used to recording underneath, and then doing the drums and the bass isolated afterwards for like the final product.
Right, right.
But if you can still like have a lot of that feeling, if you aren't like over rehearsing, if you're not recording it 500 times and like comping together the best takes, like I don't know, I just really appreciate a live performance, even if it or something that feels live, something that feels emotional, even if it's not like uh perfect.
Sure, sure. So I started off by talking about kind of how I've always really loved the idea of what Nirvana did with their first record. And I still stand by my statement that it's my favorite record. I think, in my opinion, that it's their best record. And I do love the way that it turned out and how visceral it is. But talking through this a little bit more is kind of led me to unromanticize that a little bit and to come to the conclusion that maybe that might not necessarily be the best way to do it, and that's certainly not necessarily a fair expectation to have of yourself to just jump into the studio, do it, and bounce and have one of the best records
Mhm.
of the decade.
But
So,
one of the things you like about that record is that it's raw, right?
oh, it's super raw, and it's just got this visceral nature that just connects on some sort of a deep level for me.
Yeah, well, that's not perfection. That's, real. That's realness.
Sure.
I promise you there's stuff on that record that's not perfect.
Well,
Or
yeah. I mean,
wasn't intended, and now like
sync a metronome at the beginning of each song and just listen for how far off they get. Every single song on that record, and I think
yeah.
that works really really well for that sound. I don't think
Yeah.
that's remotely a bad thing.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I don't. I think that you don't really need a click track as much if you're doing like the live band thing. Uh
so,
That
anyways,
being said, I've had to do some remote recording now and then, and once I got something, I'm like, so what's the click track set to? And she's like, I don't have a click track. I'm like, oh jeez, because
here we
it
go.
was everything I had was so sparse. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to time this. Like, this is going to be extremely hard to do some of the timing, because it was like on like upbeats and stuff, and I'm like, gosh, really wish you had recorded this to a click track. Oh my god.
Sure, sure, sure. So, anyways, that's just my takeaway in terms of what came into the episode kind of holding up as an ideal. Um, yeah, I think it's a really good conversation. Certainly, a lot of things worth considering. So,
Hmm.
thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Thanks for doing
yeah,
the
and those
research.
thanks. And those were just a few of the examples in my article. In fact, some of those did not even make it into the article. So check out the whole article when it comes out on Reverb. .com either this month or next. I'll post links and I'll give it another shout out. Speaking of shout outs though, I want to shout out our patron Joe Braga. So I had a
What?
situation
What?
where this video editing program I'd been using for the past year called Pinnacle. It just I got an upgraded version. It was trash. It wasn't working, and I very quickly had to turn around some other videos. So she helped me with Adobe Premiere and did a video. We did a screen share. I kind of walked her through here are the parts of my videos, my demos, and here's how here's my process in Pinnacle. How can I translate these processes to Premiere? So thank you so much, Joe. That was so damn helpful, about as helpful as anyone could have been. Yeah, so big ups.
Woohoo!
Also, shout out if you want to join our Patreon program and be half as cool as Joe. Patreon.com/getoffset. Actually, let me log in, and we have some new patrons, including some dollar bill patrons.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Yes. Let's see. And shout out on the show. Gear Ingdahl, $1 a month. Thank you so much, Gear.
Love it.
Paul Heimberg, $5 a month. Thanks, Paul.
What?
Damian Martinez, thank you. Thank you. Patrick Pine, thank you. Pontius Helm, thank you. David Mulvaney, thank you. And Andrea K, thank you. You are at the $10 level, and please respond to my message so I can get you some swag, because you get swag at the $10 level.
Swag is always a good choice. I'm a fan.
Yes, I am too. Oh, we also have some thank you cards due. But we don't have addresses for Andrea, so that's another reason we need that.
We want to thank all of you for supporting the show. You help us be able to do this, and that support.
Yes.
I can't begin to express how much that means to us, and how important that is to keep us alive. Especially in the world these days. I think something that really struck me this week is I got I'm an amplifier for KEXP, and I got an email from them this week. From their CEO saying that they have to let go 20% of the studio staff.
I thought it was 8 people.
Oh, I was half awake when I read it and just went, wow.
It was painful, but it wasn't as many people as you just said.
It's painful, and it's part of just the world that we live in. And my point in sharing that is that your support, especially with everything going on right now, is that much more meaningful, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, I just want to confirm it was 8 people and 7% of their full-time equivalent staff.
So 20 was a bit of a jump. My apologies.
Yeah. So it's mostly guest services, business support, executive leadership, engagement, and software teams. Very sad and upsetting. Yeah. But at least they get to keep their health benefits through the end of the year.
Yeah, they did offer a proper severance package, which is important, I think, always.
And hard to do often. So often hard to offer that kind of thing in this climate. So
I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just really trying to drive home the point that your support means the world, and we really appreciate that.
And if you don't like the Patreon thing, we have merch at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. We also have no, that's probably about it. But you can join our Facebook group. It's the Get Offset Podcast Facebook group. You can also rate, review this podcast on iTunes, which we really, really, really appreciate. If you haven't done that already, it helps us increase our reach quite a bit. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which I personally appreciate a lot. A lot.
For sure.
Yes. So that's everything I've got. Do you have anything else, Andrew?
The one last thing I would like to leave off on is y'all are rad. And that's all I got.
That's why we've been able to do this for 99 episodes.
99.
That means next week is special. 99 fish balloons. I like the mashup of 99 Left Balloons and 99 Problems. It's maybe my favorite mashup.
Wait, I haven't
Oh,
heard
it's
this
real.
yet.
It's real.
Oh
Listen
my
to it
god,
after we record.
I'm in love with the concept already. Okay.
It's good.
Let's wrap up this episode. I need to go listen to that right now.
All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily.
And my name is Andrew.
Goodbye.
Bye.